from slavery from 1865 to damn near 1965 or 1975. You see what I'm saying? Is now a cancer. You see what I'm saying? It's now a cancer. Because the simple fact is, we as a people, we are 21st century people. And we need to go beyond certain doctrines of survival, you see, to a new paradigm. A new paradigm. And too often, the church's philosophy can be used as something to keep us stagnant, keep us stable, and all this. Some people say, oh, he's just trying to get out of religion. And no, I'm trying to tell you here is the basis of the reason why you got grown people that can't think is because when they was a child, they was taught that they was going to hell.
Now what is hell?
About a thought.
Now what is hell? Now what is this place called hell that keeps people in fear? And because I talk to people every day, and they are afraid to question. They are afraid to venture because they feel some consequence that they want to suffer.
You got a sister who we were just talking to.
Yeah.
Is 53 years old. And 90% of what she learned 58 years ago, 53 years ago, the 90% of the stuff she learned, let's say 40 years ago, you see what I'm saying? 48 years ago, is not even a part of her own thought process.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying?
Right.
Because we learned this at a very early age. Now, I'm looking at the psychological ramifications of what I'm trying to say here. She was also taught around the same time that she was learning about the devil and God and Jesus and all of this, and hell, about the boogeyman.
Right.
Everybody was scared of the boogeyman at an early age. They tell you don't go in that black closet, don't cut off the light.
Don't go in the basement.
Don't go in the basement because the boogeyman going to get you.
Right.
And this was horrific. And it was terrifying to us. But as we got older, we learned, you see what I'm saying, that these certain things didn't exist.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And the only reason why it affected you because you was too young to know that at the time. But you learned that these things didn't exist. Well, it's the same concept with the hell concept. We learned that the hell concept, you go into hell after you die. And all. And these particular concepts, remember now the Hebrews didn't even have it. Like Diop said, until 100 years before so-called Christian era. And they borrowed all that from the Egyptian Book of Gates. Which that concept is not even talking about some place up under the earth. It's talking about conditions of the soul and of the mental process. And an initiation process of the soul, the thought process, and how you illuminate from one level to the other. But we got this hell concept, and we got grown people now that all they had to do to neutralize the fear was learn more about it. Now, give you an example, because I'm still address this. With me, when I started doing the research, I did something that I noticed it never dawned on a lot of black people to do. We have been driven by fear of going to hell, and the devil is our enemy. Although we know that this mythological character don't exist, but yet we have taken all that is going wrong with us and put it on something that doesn't exist. Because some doctrine or some fool told us that that's the person behind all that goes wrong in your life is Satan.
Right.
So we grew up this particular way. It never dawned on millions of black people, well, why don't you just study Satan? Have an extensive study into Satan and into hell. And had they gone there, they could have neutralized the situation to find out it's something totally different than a boogeyman concept that they learned as a child. That they learned as a child. So in this particular concept and studying these concepts, you get hell, you get the word shell, or sheol. Now in Hebrew, let's take the Hebrew version, because that's the version in which the Christian version is made up out of. You get the word hell. You get a word Sheol in Kabbalah, and even in the book of Ethiopian book of Enoch. And in deeper Kabbalah, a Kabbalistic text, you get the word shell, the husk, the shell called kalipoth, or husk, or shell. When you study the esoteric meaning of that, the word, the kalipoth, the husk, the shell, and you get the word hell, the shell means the physical body that houses the soul. The soul is trapped in a physical body and in a dream state of an illusion. So, in the Hebrew aspect, the physical body is hell. So we live in hell because our soul lives into the physical body. Now, if you take the Gnostic, which is pre-Christianity, here it is, the Christians talking about pre-Christianity. Well, that's a contradiction. I thought this only existed when Jesus came. So now you're telling me there was a Christianity that existed before Jesus. That's a contradiction. Well, let's take the Gnostic, which is pre-Christianity, which is actually later-day Egyptian, ancient Egyptian. And they talk about Hail, and they said, and Helix. They said that Helix is the people that live in Hail. And Helix means physical person, and Hail means physical earth. So you already in hell based on Hebrew and based on pre-Christianity. You understand what I'm saying?
Right.
Based on pre-Christianity.
Right.
You go to the Greek thing, you get Hades, you get torturous. You see what I'm saying? And torturous is supposed to be the deepest part of hell, but when you deal with it on a physiological root, torturous is the lower gastrointestinal tract. It's still inside of the body. So these are greater concepts that explain states of condition on a spiritual level and a physiological level. And yet, you can get millions of black people and millions of white folks is trapped in this thing just on the basis of ignorance. Just on the basis of ignorance. They're trapped on this. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
So we live in hell. You see what I'm saying? I remember one time I was on the train, the subway down in Atlanta, and there was a black woman jumping all over the thing because there was some, she by being in the South, you know, you go up north, you see Jews all the time. You understand what I'm saying? But down south, you don't have the Jews that dress in the various acidic type garb, so you can't tell them from white folks.
Right.
You know, they are all white in the first place.
Right.
But I'm talking about the one that looks a different type of Jew.
Right.
These Jews, for some reason, was at some convention down in Atlanta, and they had on all the black. You know,
right.
So they were on the train.
Right.
And this black woman, for the first time, old black nigga, you know, this woman had to be in her 50s. This is the first time she identified a Jew outside of somebody saying they're Jewish. You know, let alone black people, they are not Jews, you know. That's a whole nother story for black people down there. But this is the first time she saw that Hasidic Jew. She jumped all up on the train saying, God bless you, and God bless Israel. Because if Israel falls, the world falls. And I know that my salvation is based on you all surviving in Israel. I'm looking at this goddamn ignorant ass nigga woman jumping up with these stink, nasty ass Hasidic Jews with a tradition that don't even resemble nothing that come out of the Bible.
That's right.
You know, and because she doesn't know that these people, all of the European Jews, get their origin of being converted into Judaism in Spain. You see, in Spain and in Europe, you see what I'm saying, at a time when the Moors ruled, you know, and then later on usurping somebody's culture, or usurping and taking the name, because all that's European culture, and taking this name and masquerading as something that is indigenous and ancient,
Mm-hmm.
You see, because she don't know this. She's thinking that these fools, because she saw the first time in her life, it took her 50 years, because she's lived down south all her life, to identify as a person that's not a white person that has to say they're Jewish. She might see a Star of David or something.
Right.
She see these people and all, and she's seen on TV these people in the black hats and all this kind of thing here. And she's going all crazy. You know what I'm saying? She's going all crazy. And I know that they're probably looking at her like saying, this damn idiot here don't even know. We are in a perpetual state of masquerading as something indigenous. You know